The funeral service for the late Prime Minister Brian Mulroney was a celebration of his political legacy, his love of family, and his love of music.
And I shall hear, though soft, you tread above me.
So prime ministers, titans of business, artists, performers, and athletes all gathered at the Notre Dame Basilica in Montreal to remember Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. There were songs from family members and, of course, the Canadian Tenors. You were listening to our next guest there. Joining us this morning from Burlington, Ontario, is Mark Masri, one of the members of the Tenors and one of the performers there that day. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. It's good to be with you.
Yeah, it's good to see you. I think the moment for Canadians was undoubtedly what I'm going to play next, and that's the Prime Minister's granddaughter, Elizabeth Lapham, singing her grandfather's favorite song.
Qu'est-ce que j'ai à tant l'aimer que ça me donne envie de crier sur tous les toits. Elle est à moi, j'aurais l'air fin si je faisais ça.
Even hearing it now, it makes me feel weepy. You know, I think people, wherever they were watching this, listening to this, they felt such strong emotion. What was it like to be in the church for that?
It was absolutely amazing, and you're right, Anne-Marie. It was one of those moments that I don't think any of us in attendance or those that watched the funeral will forget, as she fought back tears and the emotion of that day and the fact that the world was watching this state funeral for a man so loved by so many. Another moment for me was just so impactful when she actually got up and sang another song with a wonderful French artist, Marc Masri. And at the very end, they sang a song when Irish Eyes Are Smiling. And then, to the surprise of everyone in the room, they rolled audio of former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney's voice, as he had recorded a version of that song in the past. And he joined them, and it became a trio at the very end. And it sucked all the air out of the room. And there was barely a dry eye in the house. It was amazing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I remember everybody's talked about Brian Mulroney's voice, both his speaking and his singing voice, and it certainly had a huge impact. And it was a bit of a surprise for everybody to hear it at the end. What are some of the other moments from that funeral that will stay with you?
Oh, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Carolyn's tribute to her dad. It was so beautiful. She went one by one in terms of all the children and the special relationship that they had with their dad and how proud he was of each one of them. But I think the moment for me when she gave tribute was towards the end of her talk, and she mentioned those last moments that her mom and dad shared together in that exchange of words. And that was certainly a very emotional moment for anyone there listening, as we were all kind of sort of transported to that moment and got to feel that experience, that exchange that was so real for so many people that lose loved ones. And I think that was what was so beautiful about her tribute. It was so human. It was so honest, and you just got the sense that the former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney loved his family, and they loved him, and it was a beautiful thing to experience.
Mark, you and I have known each other a long time, long enough to know that I know that you grew up as a little boy singing in church in Malvern in Ontario. But did you ever think that you would be performing somewhere like Notre Dame Basilica in front of so many eminent Canadians and the Prime Minister that you would have grown up under?
Yes, never in a million years, Anne-Marie. It was a surreal experience to be in a room like that room, and to be in the beautiful Notre Dame Basilica in Montreal, and to be able to honor such a great man in this way. And, our manager has been a good friend of the Mulroneys for many years, really good friends with Mila and Brian. And when Jeffrey spoke to Mila just after his passing, the first song that came to mind for her when she requested the Canadian Tenors come and be part of the celebration of life service was Danny Boy. And so for us to have the opportunity to pay tribute to him in that way was a distinct honor that we will never forget.
And you sang those lines so beautifully, Mark. Quickly, your reflections on what music does, especially for people in times of mourning.
I describe it this way. I mean, music tears down walls, so it doesn't really matter what side you are on necessarily in terms of politics or what your viewpoints are on things. We all come together in music. And the beauty of music is that I think it reminds us that we are more similar than we are different. And we can all relate to so many of the emotions that powerful music that speaks to the soul conjures up.
It was an incredible moment to watch and to witness. And Mark, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. It's good to see you.
Thank you, and happy birthday to your dad.
Thanks, Mark.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.